So we reach the fourth Sunday of Advent. We have been waiting during Advent, and as we have waited, we have been lighting these candles of the Advent wreath. And we've talked about how these are the things we need to nurture within ourselves and in the world as we're waiting for God to appear. The gifts of hope and love and joy and peace. And the ways in which we can nurture them in our own hearts, and the way in which we can nurture them in the world. And today, well, you know, what we really recognize today is that little nurturing that we can do in our own lives, in our own hearts, of those important things, is really just enough to keep the flicker going within us, and just the flicker in the world, the flicker of hope, the flicker of joy, love, and peace. But today we see that the fulfillment of all of those rests in the specific way in which God enters the world. That is, God brings to absolute fulfillment our hopes, our joys, our peace. We are dependent on God to bring to fullness all of those things which we have been nurturing in our own little ways. And we know that this happens because of the gospel story that happens today. We know that all of these virtues are very nice things to have, but when God acts, he acts with specificity. God comes to a specific person in a specific time. God comes, in this case, to a man named Joseph. We know almost nothing about this man named Joseph, except that he was a Jew and allegedly a descendant of Abraham. And the story that we're told about him is a very human story. He's the man who's engaged to this young woman and finds out that she's pregnant. Holy smokes, haven't we run into those stories in our own lives? Maybe not that particular one, but you know, all those kind of messy stories that surround us. Life is filled with those sort of morally ambiguous, really gut-wrenching things that we have to work our way through. And we can imagine that was true both for Mary and for Joseph. Because Joseph was an honorable man, and he lived by the law. And the law said he should put her aside with a certificate of divorce. He should call the whole thing off. And he could do this either dramatically by having her stoned, or he could do it quietly and nicely because he liked her. But the law was clear. That's what he was to do. But we're told not that he was a law-abiding Jew, but that he was a righteous Jew. And a righteous Jew can see beyond the letter of the law and can be open in their hearts to being bent by the spirit of the law rather than its letter. So he, being a kind man, was going to put her aside, of course, and divorce her quietly. And then, crazy, he had a dream. He's made up his mind what he's going to do, and on the night that he makes up his mind, he has a dream. Well, you know how dreams are. Well, dreams are crazy. Sometimes they don't make any sense at all. Sometimes they're just You wake up in the morning and you're laughing, they're so silly. They overlay things in your mind. Once in a while, you get a dream and you say, wow, that dream has some truth in it. That dream, maybe we could even say that dream is trying to tell me something. Joseph has this dream, and an angel appears to him